and welcome to Crafts with Ash DIY and Decor. My name's Ashley, and today I'm going to bring you some really fun and easy fall Dollar Tree DIYs. I absolutely loved all of the colors and the rustic touches that I added to each of these crafts, and I hope that you will too. So stay tuned. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that little notification bell, and click all in the drop-down menu so you're notified about all notifications. I upload a bunch of times a month, and coming into the fall and holiday season, you know I'm going to be uploading a lot of decorate with me's, DIY videos, and hauls, so definitely subscribe so you won't miss a thing. All right, let's jump into these fun and easy fall Dollar Tree DIYs. For my first DIY, I'm going to start off with this sign that I actually obviously had from Easter and 2 packs of those little pumpkins. And you can use any sign really. I just like this because it had the little border around it. Now I took out the hanger and I'm going to go ahead and fill in those holes with my spackle. Now I'm just going to tell you, this was a project and a half. I don't know if you can tell, but there's raised pieces in the middle of that frame, and just getting it out was work. So if I were to do this again, I would have done it with a canvas board and done like a reverse canvas thing. But I still love how it turned out, so hang in there with me so you can see the final product. So for the border around, I just went ahead and took a baby wipe, dipped it in some Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to faux stain that frame around the middle. Now, this is where I say patience is a virtue. I went ahead and heated up the glue. Now this popped off easy peasy, no problem. I just scraped it right off. But then you can see that there's like a bottom layer. So this is what kind of took some time. So just kind of hang in there. I got it to be as flat as possible, and then I kind of sanded the rest, which, you know, if you have a really good sander, you probably could just use that instead of doing all this. But like I said, I just did the best I could. I didn't kill myself over it. I just got it to where it would be smooth, and then that way I can paint over it, and, you know, just so you couldn't tell. So like I said, I did go ahead and sand it so it was smooth. Next, I'm going to take my ivory chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside of my frame. While that's drying, I'm going to take these little pumpkins, and they do have clothespins on the back. Now, my intention was to remove the entire clothespin, but after doing all that work on that frame, I was not here for it. I was done. So all I did was just take that front part of the clothespin off and this little metal part, and I did this to 9 pumpkins. Then I went ahead and put them on a piece of painter's tape to help me hold them down, and I painted 3 of them with my spiced pumpkin paint that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I think it's either Americana or Home Decor. I can't remember off the top of my head. Then 3 with my vintage mustard paint, and then I used my copper paint. So that vintage mustard I can link in the description box below. I got it off of Amazon. The other 2 colors I actually got at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to go through and paint 3 in each color. Then after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and dry brush some of that copper on the orange. And then I did go ahead and dry brush some of that copper on the yellow. I didn't love how it looked. In fact, you're going to see that I only do 2 and I didn't do the 3rd. I do go back and do the 3rd because by that time, you know, the damage had been done. So I do end up doing it. But I just didn't love the copper. I do something to fix it a little bit. And what I do is I take a little foam brush and I just dry brush some Waverly Antique Wax all over all of the pumpkins except for the copper. So that really helped to, I don't know, kind of camouflage the copper. I like the copper on the orange, but just for some reason, not the yellow. And I think it was because it was too much of a contrast. So, and I didn't want to paint over it because I do like the pumpkin lines that you can see coming through underneath. Now, to really help blend it all together, I sanded each one of these pumpkins, and that I felt like was so, like, just made it so much better. And not only that, but it brought out the natural wood underneath and made it look more rustic, and I absolutely loved the look that that gave. So I sanded each one. After that, I took my board, and now I'm just simply going to lay out all of my pumpkins, and of course I'm going to alternate the colors, so no two of the same color are by each other. And then once I have it laid out how I like, I'm just going to simply hot glue these down. Now, because there is a little bit of the clothespin on the back, these are 3D, but which was not my intention. I wanted them to be flat, but hey, you know what? It just added some more character, interest, and I think that it turned out really, really neat. So I'm just going to go through and hot glue all of these down. Now, to add a stand, I'm just going to take some tumbling tower blocks, and I am just going to hot glue them to the bottom. Now, I did make an oopsie here. I didn't have enough room to go all the way across with 4 tumbling tower blocks, so I did 3 and then like a square block, which is fine. You're not going to see the back. It's not a big deal, especially for in my head where I think I'm going to put this. And I really do love it. It's a great layering piece too. All right, super, super simple. Don't blink because then you'll miss it. When I found these burnt orange coffee mugs from the Dollar Tree, I had to have them because this is the exact orange that I absolutely love. And then I picked up these little glass rub-on transfers. And so all I'm going to do is just rub these on, and this will be, sorry about my head, this will be perfect to put on a tiered tray on my coffee bar or put on my shelves. Now, because this is round, it does help to put some slits in so the whole thing is laying on it. Now, I start off with my fingernail at first, then you're going to see that I have a little piece of a popsicle stick in my hand, and I'm just going to start using that. But I loved the way that these rubbed on. It was so easy, and I just love the colors. Just so simple. I mean, you can put cinnamon sticks in here, you can put packets of sugar, you can put straws, toothpicks, I mean anything. Just I just can't wait to put these on my coffee bar. I think they're going to be so pretty. So I do have another one, and I am going to go ahead and do that one as well. Now, the thing I'm going to tell you is super sticky. You're going to see I messed this one up because I accidentally, got it on there, so then I was committed. So I had to go with wherever it landed, and it was not straight, and it was too high up, but I accidentally hit it on there, and a little piece pulled up, so I kind of had to go with it. But this one came out cute too, and I was thinking these would even just be perfect plain, just to go ahead and throw as a layering piece as well. And that was it to those cups. All right, so I've had these in my stash for a while as well, and this was also an inspiration from, I want to say Kirkland's, but totally an inspiration. Not a dupe, doesn't look like them at all, but I kind of got the idea from a piece from there. But what I'm going to do is, of course, I love the galvanized look, but I wanted to add that rust look. So I'm just taking a foam brush and just dabbing some Waverly Antique Wax all over each of these little bottle cap signs. That's just what I'm going to call them. I don't know what they're actually for or called. So I'm going to do that to both. And, you know, and I just did this just to add that rusty look. If you don't like that look, then you can skip that step for sure. All right, so then I'm going to take those decals again, and I'm just going to kind of create a little scene by using those decals. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the mushroom. I really loved the vibrant colors of this one window cling sheet. Again, I keep calling them decals, but I know they're window clings. So I'm just going to kind of arrange them how I like. I really love how these turned out. I just thought it was super cute. So for the second one, I went with this cute little pumpkin spice latte window cling, and then I just added some glittery leaves around it. Now, I am just placing these on here just to see how it looks, and then I will take these off and use Mod Podge. But I wanted to lay all my pieces out first so I knew exactly what I wanted it to look like. Okay, so once I have it all laid out, like I said, just went ahead and applied Mod Podge. Now you want to make sure to apply the Mod Podge to the window cling itself, because if you put it on the actual piece, then you're gonna have like a sheen to it, or at least I don't think this is matte Mod Podge that I'm using, so it would be shiny, and I just thought it was easier just to do it. And you could put a coat of Mod Podge over everything too. I didn't. It seemed to work out perfectly fine. So then I just went through one more time, and I just kind of wanted to add more Waverly Antique Wax to like around the edges, and just to make it pop a little bit. Now my daughter wanted to say hi, so hi Amelia. Now I did pop in those hangers again. May use them, may just prop these up, not sure, but I absolutely loved how those came out. All right, so next I'm going to take this little pumpkin pie sign that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it did come in a 2-pack with, I think that was cherry pie. It went so fast. I think it was cherry pie. And right now, I'm just going to take off the hanger and the staples, although you could probably skip this step because it really didn't matter. But then I'm going to take this frame, or this picture, I guess, that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I liked it because it was gold, and I just felt like that would fit into my fall decor. So I'm going to go ahead and take this whole frame apart, and I am going to take off the hanger on the back. And you can see that backing, that white backing on one side, that there's words, but on the other side it's pure white. So on the white side, I'm going to actually take my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that to paint the back. I kind of wanted it to look like wood a little bit. Now, you can use any brown, but this is all I had. A lot of my paint is still at my mom's house, so this is the only brown I had. But I did go ahead. Now, if you saw some white coming through, totally I was okay with that, because again, I wanted it to look like wood. Next, I went ahead and took this white burlap that I had, and I cut it down so it didn't cover the entire thing, but I did make sure that that piece of pie fit in the middle. And I must have pulled this on something, because it was like, there was like hot glue and stuff on it. But I cut off 2 pieces so it would cover the middle of this. Now, it doesn't line up perfect because it just didn't have enough. And then I went ahead and pulled some thread, or some pieces off, to go ahead and fray it. Then I went ahead and lined it up so it's in the middle, and once I knew where I wanted it, I just simply used some hot glue to go ahead and tack it down. Now, of course, be careful, there's holes. Now, when I did this part, I did pull the burlap so it stretched, so it would cover the majority of the frame, and then I just did that with the second piece right underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that part down, and you can see now I got smart and started using that little rubber thing. And then I just went ahead around the edges and tacked it down. Then I just simply took my piece of pie and I hot glued it to the middle of the little burlap pieces. After that, I took the frame and I hot glued this entire thing back in the frame. Then I just felt like it needed a little bit more detail, so I took these thumbtacks, and this just simply pushed right in. Now, you do want to be careful because they do poke out the back, but it's like really deep in the back, so unless you put your hand in the frame, I don't think you would touch it, because it's just very deep. So I didn't, of course, like the silver with the gold, and it just didn't go. So I just simply took some antique wax, and I'm just going to rub that all over each one of these tacks, and you can see the difference that made. It really darkened them up, made it look rusty and more rustic. So this does not stand up on its own. I tried putting a stand on it. It did not work, so this is just going to have to be like a leaner piece, which is fine. For the next DIY, I'm going to take this round sign that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and sand off all the glitter. Sorry, that went a little fast. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut off that hanger, and then by using my Ivory Waverly chalk paint, I'm just going to simply paint around the edge of this sign, going all the way around. Once that was dry, I'm actually going to take this roll of peel and stick wallpaper. You can see that I use it on my table and it was left over. So I'm just going to go ahead and just place the sign on the back, and I'm just going to cut around it. Now it's just a rough cut. I'm not trying to get very, close to the edges or anything. I'm just kind of going around in the basic shape. And then I'm simply just going to peel and stick it on the top of my sign. Now you can see that image somewhat through, but honestly after this is all done you really won't be able to see it, unless you're super close. So if you want, you can paint the front of that white so it doesn't show through, but like I said, we're going to decorate this, so it really didn't matter to me. Once it was stuck on there, then that's when I went around and kind of cut a little closer to the edge. But to give it that nice clean cut, I am going to go through with my sandpaper and I'm going to sand in the down direction and just make sure I get that nice clean edge. This is your friendly reminder that if you love what you see so far, don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. Not only does it really help my channel to grow and it spreads it around Facebook so others can see, but it tells YouTube that it's content you want to see and they'll put more of my videos in front of you so you'll never miss a thing. So smash that like button. Next, I'm going to take this window cling from the sheet, and I absolutely love the colors in this. And look how amazing this big window cling, the circle one, looks on that shiplap paper. I absolutely love that. So to adhere it, I'm just going to go ahead and take Mod Podge and apply the Mod Podge directly to the window cling itself. And then I'm just going to place it in the middle of my round. Now, you do want to do a thin coat because I realized that I kind of put a lot on there at first and I kind of squeegeed it out, which you'll see in a little bit. But definitely make sure to pay attention to the edges as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it right in the middle, and then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to first I'm going to take this little thing and I'm going to flatten it all out, make sure there's no bubbles. And then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and go over all of the edges. Now for this, I actually brushed out, like in the out direction, and that way the Mod Podge didn't go into the window cling, if that makes sense. But I just wanted to make sure that it was completely adhered down. And then I went ahead and let that dry. And that's where I said there was a lot, and I went ahead and squeegeed it out kind of. Now, it does look like that there's bubbles, but really up close there really is not, or at least they're not noticeable. So I really wanted to add just some more dimension and texture to the to this sign. So I went ahead and took that foam brush with my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just dabbing it all around the edges. I was totally okay with that because, again, it just adds to that rustic, rusty look. And I am loving the way that this turned out. Now, you can go a couple ways with this. You can put this into a wreath. You can just put a hanger on it and hang it on a door. But actually, what I decided to do was put some little feet on it and make it like a little tray. So I have these brown blocks from that game teaser game at Dollar Tree, brain teaser game from Dollar Tree. So I got 6, I believe, and I'm just laying them out right now, and then I'm going to go through and I'm just going to simply use hot glue to hot glue all of these down. Now, I did make sure that these were close to the edge, and then there are holes on some of them, so I just made sure that they were either going to be on the bottom or it was the part that I glued, so that way they weren't on the sides, if that makes sense. So once these were all glued down, then I had this cute little tray, and I think it's so cute. I love the colors. I actually might give this one to my sister. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided, but look how pretty this is. I just love it. All right, this next DIY is super simple, and it's going to look so plain to you, but that's why you have to catch my decorate with me to see how I use it, because I already know where it's going. So I'm going to start off with this square sign, and of course this is from Valentine's Day, but you can get any square sign. And then it doesn't even have to be square, just use what you have or use what you like. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and take the ribbon off the back and then pull all the staples out. Then by using my heat tool and my little scraper knife thing, I'm going to take off the tag in the middle. So I'm actually going to use this side, and because as you saw, I tried to get off all the paper on the other side. That wasn't happening. Ain't no one got time to sit there and try to do that. So I was just not here for it. So then I'm going to go ahead and sand off the glue residue and get this ready to paint. So I'm going to use painter's tape because I want just one square in the middle. So I am lining this up to the edge of the sign all the way from the top to the bottom, and I'm going to do this going all the way around just to create that, like I said, that square in the middle. Once all my tape was around the perimeter, I'm just going to take this black paint and I'm just going to paint the middle. I wanted this to kind of look like a chalkboard, and so that's just what I'm gonna do. And you don't have to put, well, at least I didn't put 2 coats. I got away with just using one because I felt like that was dark enough. After my paint dried, here's the satisfying part. I'm going to go ahead and pull up all of my tape. However, I'm going to put it to the side because I am going to use it again in just a second. So, because then we're going to paint the outside around the square. So what I'm going to do is the tape that I just used, now I'm going to put it on the inside edge of the black square. I do have to cut it down because, of course, I don't want to cover the outside frame, I guess, of this. So I'm just going to go through and, make sure that it's all pushed down and it's all lined up and it's all even, and get the frame around this, or perimeter, ready to paint. Then by using my Waverly Antique Wax, I'm just going to take a foam brush and I'm just going to paint it on. I'm not going to wipe it off or anything. I wanted this to kind of mimic wood, so that's what I decided to do, and I did go around the edges as well. And then once that dried, it was time to go ahead and pull off the painter's tape. And again, it's so satisfying. I did use my heat gun to go ahead and dry. Now, if there were some little pieces that I missed or spots that I missed, I just went ahead and touched it up. Now, I hate my handwriting on crafts. I hate it, but I wanted this to look homemade. So I took my chalk marker from the Dollar Tree and I just wrote pumpkins for sale, $1. And you can see that I started in the middle when I wrote pumpkins. That way I had all of it lined up. So I actually was okay with how it turned out. Normally I hate it, but I thought it looked cute. So next I'm going to take this sign that I got from the Dollar Tree last year at Christmas time, and I just need the post from it. So I heated up the glue at the bottom, and then as you can see, I'm using the scissors to kind of wedge it off there. It did kind of break a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I'm about to glue this on this side. So I'm just going to use hot glue. Now I should have put super glue. I might go back and do it because in my mind this is going to go on my front porch. So I might, go back and do it so it doesn't fall off. But I put a ton of hot glue on this, and then as you can see, I'm pushing it down, applying a lot of pressure. Then I'm going to flip it over and go around the edges of this little post too. It was not laying flush, and I think that's because when I pried it off, it bent backwards. So I had to put a ton of hot glue, and then I held it there for quite some time until it set up. Then I wanted the perimeter, the brown, to look more like wood, so I just sanded it down so that MDF board kind of came through, just to add like another layer of color basically and some dimension. Then after that, this little sign was done. It doesn't look like much, like I said, but I promise you it'll all come together. That's why you have to catch my decorate with me. So make sure your notifications are on. That's coming up soon. This last DIY's got to be one of my favorites. I'm going to start off with one of these pumpkins from this football sign, but any pumpkin will do. And then I'm going to use this wall tile from the Dollar Tree. And all I'm going to do is simply stick the wall tile in the middle of the pumpkin. That way you can see most of the design. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut around it. Now I left this part in because I wanted you to see that it was kind of difficult to get around all those bumps and the stem at the top with those scissors. We are going to fix that, but I just wanted you to see. So now to go ahead and fix our little problem of the sheet that wouldn't cut, I'm going to go ahead and take my sandpaper and I'm just going to sand it off, and that's going to give you that nice clean edge, and that took care of most of the paper that was on there. Then I'm going to take my little foam brush again with my antique wax, and I'm going to go around the edge because you could clearly tell that was cardboard. So I'm just kind of like faux staining the cardboard like in a way, or painting it. So I did that all the way around. Then I'm going to take this leather piece, and these are new this year. I absolutely love these. I'm really into the faux leather and the copper, so this just is perfect. So I'm just going to take the pumpkin off of there, and I'm going to hot glue that in the middle of the bigger pumpkin. And then I'm going to take this twine bow that I had already made from something else and I never used it. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that onto the top of the leather pumpkin. And I am going to make this stand by adding some Tumberling Tallware blocks. Now these were already painted brown from something else, so I just reused them. And then I did just go ahead and hit the back of it with some antique wax, because you can see the one was painted and one's not, and that was it. That was how easy this one was, and I absolutely love it. All right, so next up, here is one final look of all of my DIYs. What do you think? I am absolutely loving how each one of these came out, and I already have kind of a vision in my head of where I'm going to place them in my home when I decorate for fall. So here is my final plug to please join me for my Decorate With Me's. Those videos are coming up next, and you know that I am itching to get to work. In my kitchen Decorate With Me, I even have a fun big reveal that I know you're going to want to see. So please make sure those notifications are turned on and you're subscribed so you won't miss any of my content coming up. You're going to have to let me know down in the comments which one of these DIYs was your favorite. Have you started decorating yet? When usually do you decorate? I want to hear all the fun fall things that you have planned. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Please pause this and take a second to hit that like button because, like I said, it really helps my channel to grow. And until I see you again, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!